Hello, and welcome back to the Script Mentor podcast. I'm your host and the Script Mentor, Gino Scala. Today we have a very special guest, author, novelist, and soon-to-be screenwriter, W.T. Sanders, and he has completed a book called The Rostrum, and we'll be discussing that here shortly. Welcome, Bill. How are you today, sir?
Doing great, Bill. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. So is this your first book, The Rostrum?
Yes, it is. My first venture into writing a novel. I've written a lot of reports and all over my career, but the first time I've actually tried to go with fiction.
And what's your writing process like?
It's an eclectic style, maybe. I'm one that I really like order. And, so I come up with a concept, and then I do a lot of research into the background, what I want to say in the story. And then start building the characters and the plot lines underneath that support the larger plot line. And I also kind of want at times to kind of have a message in there as well. It's very subtle, but it does come out. In this particular one, it's about our right and our responsibility to vote.
Basically, The Rostrum is a political thriller, and it deals with, or part of it has to do with the attempted assassination of the president. And tell the people when you started writing and about the time you finish, what took place.
Okay, so I actually started the concept, the thought of it, back when Barack Obama was first running for office. Yeah, I'm a protection guy. That's my background. I've done executive protection evaluations. I play the bad guy in determining how I would attack a particular, principal. And then I work with the executive protection detail to give them ideas. This is your threat. This is what's emerging. And this is how I would counter those threats. So I actually started with that because I had a true concern about what could happen to our nation if Barack Obama had been assassinated in his campaign. I worked on it for a while, and then I got so busy in my work that I had to set it down and not proceed further with it. But I retired about 2 years ago, and I said, you know what, I think I'll dust it off and start bringing it up to speed. Well, Barack Obama had already spent 2 terms in. We, had President Trump in there, and now we're in another administration. So I had to bring it up to speed. We're on steroids compared to where we were. And so now we have the second Black presidential candidate that is now running, and that sets the table for that background of the story. So really, it wasn't till this year that I really dusted it off and finished it up, and then contacted you to help mentor me through this process and tell me what we need to do. And you thought it was worthy enough to move forward, and I appreciate you for that.
Well, yes, it's a fantastic book, and you're a great writer, and I suspect that there'll be many more coming down the pike from your imagination. But right after you finish, and right as we began the marketing, Butler, Pennsylvania happened. I think the fact that the subject matter is similar, the timing of it, of the release, and the timing of the actual thought process, couldn't have been better, couldn't have been more fortunate for you. And do you have any comments to that?
Yeah, and I think the thing that it highlights is how polarized we've become as a nation, and in the news cycles. it's big for a while, then we move on, and like you were saying, it wasn't that long ago that somebody tried to shoot, former President Trump, and we've moved on from that on that. But it really highlights, the book highlights, how polarized we are, and it starts off with the assassination of President McKinley. And that kind of sets the table for some of the back channel stories some of the characters have and all. And then I start off with history, but then I use some literary license and extrapolate on that, on there, attributing them to this group that is actually behind the scenes, pulling the levers of Wall Street and Washington.
And that group does exist, and at least it did back in the 1800s.
Right.
Document that pretty thoroughly. It probably exists today, almost assuredly, or some remnants of it. And I thought, man, that's a classy book. And the cover, it's just beautiful. It's the presidential seal, presidential rostrum. Very few people probably even know that's what it's called. Mm-hmm. And it's covered with blood, and you'll see blood on the flags. And whoever created that cover is just brilliant. I can't give them enough credit. But anyway, enough about me.
I said a shout out to Erica Star Enterprises.
Oh yeah. She put it together, and we're very happy for her. I'm very proud of her. She's a wonderful marketer and designer. And but tell the people, you have a very interesting background, many years in it, and a lot of this, the book, the story deals with nuclear facilities, as that's one of our largest threats. And why don't you tell us your background in that specific area?
Okay. Well, and Gino and I were college classmates at North Georgia College, now University of North Georgia. And following graduation, I was commissioned as an officer in the United States Army Military Police. Spent 3.5 years. I ran a hostage rescue counterterrorism course while I was active duty, and then got out and got into the nuclear weapons security program that the Department of Energy and National Nuclear Security Administration run. They maintain the nuclear weapons, they produce them, and then they turn them over to the military for actual deployment and use or whatever. But for about 40 years doing that type of work, I was at multiple DOE facilities across the complex. The one I had at Amarillo, Texas, is the Pantech site, and that's where they actually refurbish the nuclear weapons today and then put them out. I was the chief there in another place called Rocky Flats out in the Denver, Boulder, Colorado area. And most recently spent a lot of time at the DC headquarters of the Department of Energy and National Nuclear Security Administration, where did a number of different roles there. Part of my time was going out and running inspections of all the nuclear weapons facilities, seeing how their security was performing. We have what we call the design basis threat. We would run tactical exercises against them using what we call ESS, or engagement simulation systems. It's kind of like an adult laser tag. You fire a blank out of your rifle, it sends a laser, and you wear a harness, and if you get hit, you're dead. And they're very extensive exercises that we would run. So that was part of the most fun portion of my career, was going out and seeing the different people, talking with different folks, and running these exercises out there. So it's been a very rewarding career. I got to do things like blow stuff up and drive cars real fast and shoot just about anything that the military has. And
Did you have a rank in this position?
yes, two of the different places I was the chief, the head uniformed officer on site, and it was the rank of colonel. And yes, that made me Colonel Sanders.
I never thought of that.
I went to one of the interviews with Pantex, and I asked them, I said, so this is a uniform position, and I assume it has a rank, and what rank is that? And they said, well, it's colonel. So a big smile came up on my face because it'd be the second time. And they said, what? What? I said, what does that make me? And they looked and they said, oh, they fell out laughing. So that may be the reason I got the job. I don't know. But I used it for good. Anytime we had visiting dignitaries come in, I would tell them, yes, I'm the senior uniformed officer here. My rank is colonel, and my last name is Sanders. Yes, that makes me Colonel Sanders, but you will remember me when you leave here. And they get a big smile, and sure enough, they do remember me.
That.
Yeah.
And I knew you as a, what were you, Lieutenant Colonel?
Let's say again?
Lieutenant Colonel at NGC?
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't even put it together.
Yeah.
I didn't even, you were brigade commander, weren't you? Or a brigade?
No, actually,
XO?
XO, I think it was major. It was
Major, okay.
I was the executive officer for the second
Right.
battalion there.
Yeah.
Bill Cook was the
That's right.
battalion commander. Yeah. Well, you and I were both in the aggressors, which was aggressor platoon, which is a ranger type unit.
Right.
A lot of time training at the U.S. Army Ranger School in Camp Merrill.
Yeah. Now, you have since, after completing the book, you adapted it into a screenplay. And
we're working, yes,
working on getting that out.
You're assisting me with that.
So, what are your plans at this point going forward? What do you have another book or two in mind?
Well, I'm already working on the sequel to it. Some of the characters that are survive in this, and I won't get into who they are, but
right.
They will be playing a big role in this. I've already got a title for it, The Enemy of Mine Enemy, and where disparate groups of totally opposite beliefs and all come together, and it's because of their differences that they really team up well. So, and then it is going after a nuclear target. So,
but now we're in the marketing phase of the book. Have you noticed an uptick in getting the book out there? Have you noticed an uptick in sales?
Yes, exactly. We actually went out June the 5th. I think it actually was published on first Amazon, and then starting into the others, and then there were a few sales here and there, but then as soon as we started doing the marketing on there, there was an exponential increase in that. So
that's great. We should be hearing quite a bit more about the Rostrum. Again, it's the Rostrum by W.T. Sanders, my buddy Bill Sanders. And it's been a unique pleasure and honor working with you. And I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gino. For
okay, my friend.